Okay. Dear officers, am I audible and visible? Okay, great. Dear officers, a very good evening to one and all. As you are aware, like the countdown has begun, especially for 2024 examination. In this regard, there are three important things with respect to preparation. They often student ask, sir, what should we read? Okay. What should we read for current affairs? From where should we start current affairs? Say, for example, if you are preparing for 24 examination, where you have to start? Should you start from 23? Should you start from 22? Or just 24 ka chalega? So in this regard, a very, very important thing, the most important thing is you have to concentrate on the things which are very, very new, which are very, very current. In this regard, 1 year current affairs for the whole India for the coming year is budget. So your current affairs preparation should have basis in budget, because for the next 1 year, I hope you are getting. So here, for next 1 year, whatever happens in our country will be based on budget. And previously, what we have done, that will be summed up in economic survey. And India Yearbook is a holistic one covering all ministries and departments. I repeat, what is there in India Yearbook? In the India Yearbook, majorly all governments, departments and ministries are given. And of late, they have divided India Yearbook in such a way that it is in line with the syllabus of UPSC. Here, you have to master this trinity. The one which is most important, which comes on January 31st, is economic survey. This time, economic survey will be termed as economic survey 23-24, means what has happened previously. After that, you have got India, a book by Government of India, after that budget. So by reading these three, you will have 2 years current affairs, the holistic one. Once again, it's a very high time. Going through all these documents is very, very difficult. In my opinion, if you try to master economic survey or India Yearbook, each may take nearly 20 to 30 days. So having said that, first of all, whatever you see in any current affairs, you have to locate in syllabus. I repeat, whatever current affairs, whatever you are reading, just ask a question, where in the syllabus? If it is not in the syllabus, my dear students, please don't read. I hope I am making the point clear to you. Anything, whatever is there, just ask a question, where in the syllabus? And you have to locate. Otherwise, you shouldn't be reading, right? So here you have to locate with respect to this trinity. You will be covering the things which are given in society, in GS1, in GS2, all the things other than the polity things. In fact, they also are covered. But other than that, say for example, if you take chapter number 8, in that constitutional post, after that, government interventions, development process, welfare scheme issues, all these things have to be covered. In addition to that, specifically, budget and economic survey pertain to first 3 chapters of GS3. In fact, all the topics which are there, other than the security issues which are there at the last, each and everything in your yearbook, economic survey, budget should be pointed here. So you can see, the chapter themselves are named as government budgeting. Then you should be reading budget, inclusive growth, the agenda of budgeting itself, economic survey, in that you will be having planning, mobilization, research, not only in economic survey, even in budgeting. So you have to locate in the syllabus. All these things will be covered in all these 3, right? Having said that, let me make one point clear to you. Many make a wrong strategy. They keep things like CSAT, and things like current affairs in the last month, that you shouldn't be doing, because last month is the golden month which you have to keep for only revision. In February, economy and environment should be finished, right? Having said that, let me ask you a question. Budget. Okay, so I saw a message. Sonia madam, though I read, सुना ही नहीं दे रहा है, something like that. Okay, right. Budget. In reality, who should prepare budget? Budget कौन prepare करना है? Let me give the options also. Who should prepare? Okay. Who should prepare budget? Number 1, legislature. Number 2, executive. Number 3, judiciary. Number 4, none. So what is your answer? Who should prepare? Okay, here most of you have given wrong answer. Budget should be prepared by legislature. But listen to me, that is delegated to the executive. Is the point clear to you? Budget should be prepared by the legislature, but it is delegated to the executive. In reality, it is the executive who prepares. Right. Then, what exactly happens in budget? What exactly happens in budget? Please let me know the answers. What exactly happens in budget? Allocation of funds. Very good. Then, still broader definition. Income, expenditure, financial statement are some of the answers. Spending of government, revenue schemes, policies, welfare, people, economic development of country, expenditure. Okay. Planning. Okay. Listen to me. In budget, the most important thing is passing of bills. In budget, there will be 2 bills passed. One is appropriation bill. Appropriation bill. Another is financial bill. Appropriation bill is to appropriate money out of the consolidated fund of India. Right? So to appropriate the money out of the consolidated fund. And financial bill is with respect to filling this consolidated fund in the form of taxes. Clear? So this is in reality what is happening in budget. Any doubt here with respect to these things? So budget may just they are passing 2 important bills. Okay, please explain again. Okay. Let me take this. In budget, during the budget session, 2 important things happen. They are, number 1, passing of appropriation bill. After it is been passed, it becomes Appropriation Act. This legitimizes the executive to take money from the consolidated fund of India. Then there will be second one, passing of financial bill. This, when it is passed, it becomes Financial Act. This gives permission or legitimacy for the executive to tax so that they can fill. Right? Now, let me ask you a question. The money of Government of India, where is it? Where is the money of Government of India? गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का मनी किधर रहता है? वेरी गुड, वेरी नाइस, राइट नाउ. Okay, very good. Consolidated Fund of India. Who is authorized to take money out of Consolidated Fund of India? Please answer this question. Who has the authority? Very good. So all are giving the correct answer. It's the Parliament. So now you have to understand. Though in theory, it is the legislature which is having authority. Very carefully, please listen to me. In theory, it is the legislature which is having the authority to take the money out of the consolidated fund. But as you are aware, it is the executive who prepares the things and he submits them to the legislature. Legislature gives the permission. Am I making the point clear to you? So all the money with the government of India is in the hands of legislature. So legislature has the full discretion. But here, legislature is not having the technical know-how, knowledge of how to spend, how not to spend, what not to spend. In this regard, it has delegated this job to the executive. Executive prepares the things and takes for approval, right? Okay. Okay. So budget session 2024. This is the session in which the bills are passed, right? So now give due attention here once again to make the things clear. In general, you have got two kinds of bills. So leave apart government bill and parliamentary like private member bill. So you have got two kinds of bill. One is money bill and another is non-money bill. I repeat, one is money bill, another is non-money bill. In non-money bill, you have got ordinary bill and constitutional amendment bill. So here, why I took up this is, there are three types majorly with respect to bills which the parliament passes. Other than money bill and constitutional amendment bill, you have got one procedure. For constitutional amendment bill and money bill, there is a separate procedure. Clear? Any doubt? So here in budget session, simply there is passing of the money bills. Any doubt with respect to this concept? Okay. These are the articles which you have to internalize. I think those of you who have attended my class on parliament, you might be knowing those things. So coming to the bottom, third, legislative procedures. Here they have mentioned as to how the bills are passed. And with respect to financial matters, separately from 112 to 117. Okay. So budget. So listen to me. Budget doesn't mean only annual financial statement. Annual financial statement is one of the things which is present. Budget document consists of 14 documents. So in budget, how many documents are present? 14 documents are present. So in this, three varieties of documents are present. Number one, constitution mandate, where constitution says that you have to produce. Number two, statutory things. Number three, explanatory things. So these are the things which are present. But before that, you have got one more thing, what is known as budget speech. After that, annual financial statement, Article 112, demand for grants 113, finance bill under Article 110. So these are the constitutional obligations. So a question may be asked, what are the documents present in budget which are obligation or which are constitutional mandate? So for that, annual financial statement, demand for grants, financial bill, right? These are the three things. After that, you have got one more important thing known as FRBMA Act, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act. So in that you have got macroeconomic framework. Macro means it's like an indication, like bigger picture. Afterwards, medium term. So medium term for how many years? Medium term fiscal policy come fiscal policy strategy statement for how many years? Very good, 3 years. 3 years. So these are statutory mandates. So once again, here you can see statement mandated under FRBM Act. See, this is an act which is made by the legislature. These are from the constitution itself. So macroeconomic framework statement, medium term fiscal policy come fiscal policy strategy statements. After that, all you have are explanatory statements. They explain the thing, right? So for better understanding, let me elaborate these things. First of all, you have got budget speech. So how to read, what to read? Here students are very much confused. क्या पढ़ना है, क्या नहीं? So with respect to budget, let me explain you as to what you have to read. You shouldn't be like watching videos with respect to budget, all these things, because I will give you the original sources from which all the classes will be done. So for better understanding, financial minister speech, right? In that budget speech, you have got two parts, part A and part B, and also you have got annexure. So in part A, you have got introduction and program schemes. So the budget speech which the finance minister present. So you will have introduction and schemes. In part B, you have got direct tax proposals and indirect tax proposals. And in annexure, there will be some data given, no need to read. So if at all, if you want, you have to read the budget speech. So if you listen to budget speech, it will be as it is ditto of the things which are there. PDF will be available, you can download and read from the PDF. That is the one thing. Because before this budget is presented, nobody is having any idea as to what is there in the budget. So that is the first time the whole India, the whole world come to know what is there. Right? Next, here in that, you have to go for budget at a glance. So what you have to read? Finance Minister budget speech you have to read. After that, budget at a glance will be given. That you have to read. In the last, the 30th, key to budget document will be there. That is the one thing which you have to understand. Budget, key to budget is little technical and it is more of economy. In fact, it is one of the most important. So, इसको छोड़ के आपको कुछ नहीं पढ़ना है. So, what you should be reading? Budget speech, budget at a glance, key features of budget, highlights of the budget. That will suffice. If at all, if you want, you have to go for PIB. Just type budget, PIB. You will get the summary of the things, read it. Still you want, you can go for PRS legislation. They are also systematically summarized. That will be sufficing. इसको छोड़ के आपको ज़्यादा पढ़ने का ज़रूरत नहीं है. So yesterday night, in fact, like I was thinking like what to do, like how can we make our student better than others. So suddenly I thought like let us revise the last 3 years. So afterwards, when I discussed like students, they felt that it will be too much for them. And in fact, that is that one. Already budget, economic survey are too much. In that, if you want to put another 3 years, it will be very high for you. So what I thought is, I want to discuss some of the most important topics which are there in budget document, which will be asked in your UPSC. Okay. So Article 112, annual financial statement. So annual financial statement shows receipts and expenditure for 3 years. This is one important thing. The other things like you might find in all other books, but the things 3 years नहीं दिए जाएगा. So 3 years कौन सा है? So one will be the next year, next financial year, and the other will be previous years, and the one present. Now we are in January. When the budget will be presented, it will be February. But budget will be presented for next year. So all the three, this year, these are the 3 years which will be presented. 24-25 estimates, 23-24 estimates, because the year has not yet completed. After completion, they have to audit, they have to sum up the things. Afterwards, the revised things will come. And with respect to the previous one, actuals. So this is the one thing which you have to keep in mind. So in annual financial statement, 3-year things are given. One next year, the other previous one, and the one which is running. So for the last like 22-23, you have got actuals. For others, you have got just estimates. And once again, this here, the things are shown in 3 parts. So first thing is 3 years. Another is 3 parts. So annual financial statement में 3 divisions रहते हैं. One is consolidated fund, contingency fund, public account of India. Very, very important from your examination point of view. 3 years, 3 parts. 3 parts are consolidated fund, contingency fund, public account. So here I have dealt elaborately in the polity session with respect to consolidated fund, contingency fund, and public fund. So I won't be elaborating. Other than that, I'll be going through all the things, technical terms which are there in budget. Okay, what are demand for grants? Now, this is a question like you should be answering. What are demand for grants? Extra money. Okay, demand for grants is not extra money. Estimates of expenditure. Very good. Estimates of expenditure. Right? So please write down this. Demand for grants. Article 113 of the Constitution mandates. 113 mandates that estimates of expenditure from Consolidated Fund of India included in AFST annual financial statement, estimates of expenditure from Consolidated Fund of India included in annual financial statement and required to be voted by Lok Sabha. Required to be voted by Lok Sabha. Be submitted in the form of demand for grants. This is the all-encompassing and the most authentic definition. So I repeat, the estimates of expenditure has mandated under Article 113 of the Constitution mandates that estimates of expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India included in the annual financial statement and required to be voted by Lok Sabha be submitted in the form of demand for grants. Demand for grants are presented to the Lok Sabha along with annual financial statement. This is one addition which you have to keep in mind. So along with annual financial statement of 112, demand for grants also. Please interlink the things. In 112, there is like annual financial statement. In that, there are some demands made by the executive. So this will be put in this also. So along with annual financial statement, you will be having demand for grants. This is one important thing. Demand for grants are presented to Lok Sabha along with annual financial statement itself. बाद में नहीं करते, अभी करते. Okay. This is one more technical thing. Demand for grants, you are aware of that. Generally, one demand for grant is presented for each ministry or department. For all the ministries and department, one separate demand for grant is presented. However, more than one demand for grant for a ministry or department may be present. What is the general rule? One ministry, one department, one demand for grant. But depending upon the nature of expenditure and other things, more than one demand for grant may be presented. So how many demands of grants are presented generally? What is the total number of demand for grants? Okay, it varies from year to year. It will be generally more than 100. So we have to write like what will be this year. With regard to union territory, very, very important, union territories don't have their own separate existence. So there is a demand for grant presented for union territory also. Most importantly, union territories which have legislation, they have their own budget. But union territories, say Delhi and Puducherry, but union territories without legislation, a separate demand is presented for each of such union territories. Is the last point clear to you? With regard to union territories without legislation, very important, a separate demand is present for each union territory. So, after a long time, to see all my old students, old names once again appearing. Okay. Now please do answer. Union territory of Ladakh. Who prepares the budget? Who prepares the demand for grants? Union territory of Ladakh. Okay. So in simple, like you can say that it is a central government. Okay. Union territory of Delhi. Who prepares the budget? Union territory of Delhi. Okay, very good. So that is the one. So if any union territory is having legislature, then they will prepare their own budget. If union territory is not having a legislature, then that will be the central government which will be preparing. So how many demands of grant? It depends. Generally, it will be more than 100. Okay. So here in demand for grants, each demand initially gives separately the total of voted and charged expenditure. So in demand for grants, so just you have to imagine in demands of grants, there will be one known as voted and another is charged, and there will be separate section of revenue and capital, and at the last we will be having grant total. That's it. So don't get confused by all these things. Separately you will be having voted and charged, separately you will be having revenue and capital. Last you will be having a grant total. That's it. This is followed by estimates of expenditure under different major heads. So by connecting all these things, by now you should be getting a broader picture of demand for grants. So initially it will be divided into voted and charged, revenue and capital. There will be total. After that, demand for grant is divided into major heads. Okay. Each demand normally includes total provisions required for the service, everything required. So that should be there. No need for going all reading all these things. It includes revenue expenditure, capital expenditure, grant to state, union territories, governments, also loans, advances relating to service. So to precise the things which I have highlighted in green, each demand normally includes total provisions required for a service. That will suffice. It may include all the things. Okay. Now, please do answer. This is a tricky one. This is for senior aspirants. Demand for grants. with respect to charged expenditure. Expenditure which is entirely charged on the consolidated fund of India. So is it presented as demand for grants or is it presented as a separate appropriation? One or two. So I have given the numbers also so that you can answer easily. Okay. So here, like in fact, it's a tricky one. Don't worry. Here, the key thing is some things which are entirely charged on consolidated fund of India, they don't form demand for grants. So here in demands of grants, you are taking the permission of the legislature. And also there will be voting. But with respect to things which are there, where the provisions of a service are entirely for expenditure charged from the consolidated fund of India, for example, interest payment, a separate appropriation. So there will be separate appropriation as distinct from the demand as given in the budget document itself is presented for the total expenditure and it is not required to be voted by Lok Sabha. So they may ask this question. So here it is distinct from the demand for grants. Charged expenditure won't be presented in the form of demand for grants. So the key term entirely is also important. So then one more question. What if a demand for grant, listen to me, what if a demand for grant consists of both charged and other expenditure? A demand for grant is having both charged expenditure and also others. So will it be presented separately or as a demand for grant? What is the answer for this one or two? So it is here the answer is 1. So in this regard, where however the expenditure on a service includes both voted and charged items of the expenditure are also included in the demand presented for the service, but voted and charged provisions are shown separately in the demand. So they will be included. If both the things are there, they will be included, but they will be shown separately in the demand. Right? Any doubt with respect to this slide? Okay. Now, bulk of grants and loans to the states are dispersed by the finance minister. Very, very important. Here, we have got a portfolio system. So, what is portfolio system? In portfolio system, the ultimate authority, the final authority to take a decision is given to some person. Say, for example, Ministry of Finance. Finance related things, the ultimate authority is given to Finance Ministry. So everything related to finance comes under Finance Ministry. Right? Okay. Financial bill. So in this, at the time of presentation of annual financial statement before the Parliament, a financial bill is presented. So to fulfill which article? So all senior aspirants, you should be answering. Financial bill, see once again, they are not presented anytime. They are presented at the same time. So Lakshmikant students, 113A, 113B, and Yadav has given the correct answer. In fact, not 113C. Okay. Right? 117. See, I thought my senior student Shuklaji, he made wrong. Okay. Okay, at the time of presentation itself, financial bill, appropriation bill, all are presented, right? To fulfill this requirement, under Article 110(1)(a) of the Constitution dealing with imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of the taxes presented in the budget. So very important, financial bill consists of parts required under 110. In addition, financial bill also consists other provisions relating to budget that could be classified as money bill. This is the one important thing which you have to keep in mind. So financial bill requirements of 110 plus some things which can be classified as money bill, right? Financial bill is a money bill as defined under Article 110 of the Constitution. So these are the articles which you should be going through under that. So you have got legislative procedures. Please give due attention and read. Provisions has to introduction and passing of the bill. This is with respect to all bills. According to Article 7, any bill, I make this point, any bill means ordinary bill. All ordinary bills, how they have to be introduced, how they have to pass is given in 107. 108, joint sitting. 109, special procedure in respect of money bill. Very important, students are often making mistake. Definition of money bill is in 110, but the procedure for money bill is in 109. So it is easy to remember one article earlier. Okay. So here you can see like 12 annual financial statement, 13 procedure in parliament with respect to estimates, that is demand for grants, 114 appropriation bill, right? Afterwards you have got grant, supplementary, additional and excess, vote on account, vote on credit, exceptional grants, special provisions for financial bills, right? Okay. So these are the some of the things which you might be aware. Please go through these things. I have given as it is in the Constitution. Okay. Now we have covered the two important things which are there. Coming to the next one, which is the statutory obligation. It's an obligation under FRBM Act. In that macroeconomic framework and medium term fiscal policy come fiscal policy strategy, right? So the year is also important, 2003. So in that macroeconomic framework, so very important, in that macroeconomic framework, it consists an assessment of growth prospects. So the most important thing is it assess the growth prospect, how India will be there, macroeconomic level, along with statements of specific underlying assumptions. What is the basis on which you feel that India will be growing at 7.5, 7.6, the assumptions. So it also consists assessment regarding GDP, domestic economy, external sector, fiscal balance, external sector balance statement, everything. So here no need to worry, no need to remember the individual things. I repeat, what are there in macroeconomic framework statement, no need to read, because these are the things which are related to macroeconomic, GDP, domestic economy, external sector, fiscal balance, right? So once again, macroeconomic framework consists of assessment of growth prospects and the assumptions underlying that. This includes all the things related to GDP, domestic economy, external sector, fiscal balance, and external sector balance also. External sector balance means import and export, right? Medium term fiscal policy fiscal policy strategy. It includes majorly the most important thing, 3 years rolling targets. So here you will be having 3 years rolling targets. Then you will be having the underlying assumptions. Then you will be having strategic priorities. Then explanation as to how current fiscal policies are in conformity. So please write these things. These are the key things. Okay. Here just keep one most important thing, that is 3 years rolling targets. Okay. So let me read out the same things. So medium term fiscal policy, come fiscal policy strategy statement, it set out 3-year rolling targets for specific for specific fiscal indicators in relation to GDP at market price. So GDP at market price will be taken. Those are with respect to fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, primary deficit, then tax revenue, non-tax revenue, central government debt, all these things. So fiscal indicators, just underline, all these are fiscal indicators. So in 3-year targeting, you will have fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, private deficit, tax revenue, non-tax, and central government debt. After that, you have got a statement which includes the underlying assumptions. That will suffice. All other things are just explanatory. An assessment of balance between revenue receipts and revenue expenditure, use of capital assets, including market borrowing for creation of productive assets. So the same PPT itself I will be giving. If at all, if you miss something, don't worry. You can read from that one. Then after that, you have got outlines for existing financial year. Then a statement explaining how current fiscal policies are in conformity with the sound fiscal management policies, and gives a rationale for any major deviation in key fiscal areas. Just an explanation of the things which are there, right? So once again, next here, key to the budget document is the one which we are discussing, most important thing. So here, public sector enterprises. With respect to public sector enterprises, just write down public sector enterprises, public enterprises survey. Public enterprises survey is brought out separately, by Department of Public Enterprise. So this is with respect to working of all public sector enterprising, all government enterprises. So public enterprises survey, it is brought by Department of Public Enterprises, is the most important thing. Okay. So I will give a brief idea of public enterprises. In this, majorly, these are like extensions of government. Here, government is acting as an enterprise. So these are under the Comptroller and Auditor General. So he'll be taking care of all the things with respect to public sector undertakings. Okay. Now, this is a one question, like I don't know how many can answer. The estimates of expenditure included in the demand for grants are, so demand for grants, not other thing, are gross amount or net amount. So by now you are aware of gross and net. Gross means total, net means removing the expenditure, other things. So what about others? So both the answers are there, they are waiting. So very important question, this may be asked. Estimates of expenditure included in the demand for grants is in gross. Very good. Right, very important. Demand for grant, you make it gross. Now, estimates of expenditure included in annual financial statement under 112, are they gross or net? Very good. Shuklaji answered very fast, very nice. Very good. So these are the two important things, like where you can get questions. So demand for grants, gross, total, not deducting the those things. Annual financial statement, net expenditure after taking into account the recoveries. Right? Any doubt with respect to these two? Like you may confuse, you have to make some mnemonics here. Okay. Revenue expenditure, once again, creates assets for government, does not create for asset for government. What is your answer? Revenue expenditure. Very nice, very nice. So in fact, the key term for revenue expenditure is not creating asset. Please connect the things. Revenue expenditure, say for example, giving salaries. Say for example, you are traveling in a bus, you pay some money. Those are revenue. So revenue expenditure does not create assets for the government. So these are the things. Now the things are getting little economical, related to economy, but they are very important. For normal running of the government, the things which are presented here are the things which are there in budget, and the questions will be formed from those itself. So revenue expenditure includes normal running of government, number one, for running various services. What are the services government provides, like water, anything, services, interest payment, subsidy, grant in aid. So very important, please note them. Revenue expenditure consists of all the things for running the government, services provided, interest payments, subsidies, and grant in aid. Here, most important thing, and you often confuse. Say for example, now please do answer. Say for example, Government of India has granted grant in aid to the states. So I repeat, center has given grant in aid to the states. Is this revenue expenditure? The answer is yes. But that grant in aid may be utilized by the state for the creation of some asset. So I repeat the same thing. All grants given to the state government, union territories, and other parties are also treated as revenue expenditure, even though some of the grants may be used for creation of capital assets. Is the point clear? So grant in aid, very important. So you may get confused, but all grant in aids are revenue expenditure, though they may, some of the states may create some capital goods. Okay. Capital expenditure, on the other way, creates asset. So give example for capital expenditure of government. Okay, okay. Very good infrastructure. Then what are the others? Infrastructure, highway constructions. Other than this, you don't have. So these are the things which test really your in-depth understanding of the things. See, once again, please listen to me. Those of you who are very young, new people, revenue expenditure is like you spending the things day to day. Say for example, chai. Say for example, you ate something, bus charge, are all revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure is when you take a book, when you take a bag, those are all capital expenditures. So here, acquisition of assets, investments, loans and advancements. Please write these things. Capital expenditure creates assets. In that, acquisition of assets, investments made, loans and advancements. So now last one, loans. Here government is giving the loan. Can we call it as a capital expenditure? Government is giving the loan to the states. Very good. Why? Why? Government is giving loan to the states. How can we consider that interest? Very good. So the assets are created. So these are the three important things which you should be forgetting. In my opinion, if you concentrate fully, at least one question will come out of this class. Okay. So the same things in a full form. Result in capital expenditure, result in creation of assets for Government of India, acquisitions of asset like land, building, machinery, equipment, investment in shares, once again capital, loans and advances, grants by the central government to the state government, union territories, government companies, corporations, and all these are termed as capital expenditure. So capital receipts, what they create? capital receipts. You should be able to interconnect the things. So what they create? What are the examples then? Capital expenditure creates asset. Capital receipts, very good. They create liability, that's it. Or they decrease the financial asset of the government. Right? Very good. Examples. Okay, Pragati, all they have given correct examples. So in this regard, you will be having loans raised. So very important, once again, capital receipts, please note down. Loans raised or received. Borrowing of the government inside treasury bills. So government sells the treasury bills and borrows. See here once again, capital receipts means the government is getting. Disinvestment, recovery of loans. The last one, most of the students confuse recovery of the loans. Right, done with? Okay, great. Then, so the same here once again, capital receipts create liability or decrease the financial asset of government. They include loans raised by the government from public. These are termed as market loans. Very, very important. Loans raised by the government from the public are known as market loans. Borrowings by government through selling of treasury bills. Please underline the thing and correlate. See, loans rising and borrowing. So borrowing is by selling bills. Okay. Then, so I was seeing a message there, sorry. Loans received from the foreign governments or bodies, disinvestment receipts, recoveries of loans from the states and union territories and other parties. Okay. Revenue expenditure does not result in the creation of asset. So you know this. Revenue expenditure does not result in the creation of assets. Then revenue receipts does not result in dash. I think you are able to correlate the things. Capital receipts. Are you able to relate the things? Revenue receipts does not create liability. Very good. Then does not result in liability. Then you have to answer next one. Does revenue receipts reduce the asset? Does the revenue assets create any liability? Very good. Very important. So revenue receipts neither reduce the asset nor create any liability. The most important thing. So they neither reduce the asset nor create the liability. So you have got tax revenues, also known as tax receipts, and non-tax receipts. So with respect to tax revenues, tax and other duties levied by the union. So what is the difference between taxes and duties? Duties. So, or just tell me, duties, where we use the term duties. Very good. Import, export, that is the correct answer, yes. So, tax is with respect to individuals or businesses collected by the government. With respect to duty, it's a form of taxation levied to certain goods and services which are carried on through import and export. So simple, duty, import and export, external, non-tax receipts. Now, please do answer. What are the non-tax receipts? Fees, penalty. Okay, very good. Okay. So with respect to non-tax receipts, interest and dividends on investment. So just write down this non-tax receipts. So here you have invested. From those things you are getting interest and dividends, fees and other receipts. Fees and other receipts. Donations from international organizations. So can we consider this as a revenue receipt? Okay, good. Now, revenue budget consists of what? Now, please answer this question. Revenue budget consists of? Very important. We'll be discussing the indices. Some of the most important one which will be present. Revenue receipt consists of? Very good. Nice. Revenue expenditure and revenue. Very good. So revenue receipts and revenue expenditure. Now, capital budget consists of similarly capital receipts and capital payments. So I think you shouldn't be having any doubt here. Okay. Now, deficit. Deficit simply means deficiency in amount or quality. Amount by which something is less than what is required to be expected. Is a general dictionary definition. Don't bother. You are aware of those things. What is balanced budget? Now, you should answer. What is balanced budget? Very good. Similarly, very nice. Similarly, you should be having idea of what is surplus budget, what is budget deficit. So here, one by one, those of you who are not aware, you can note down. Balanced budget is equal to receipts is equal to expenditure. When receipts and expenditure are equal, that is said to be balanced. Means 10 रुपए खर्चा कर रहे हो और 10 रुपए you are getting. That is balanced budget. Surplus budget when receipts are more than expenditure. So surplus, when you have surplus, your salary is 10,000, but your expenditure is only 5,000. So you have got surplus. Then you have got budget deficit. So when is budget deficit? Expenditure is more than receipts. That's it. Expenditure more than receipt. Very good. So budget deficit, the total amount, the difference between expenditure minus receipt is said to be budget deficit. Then one more important thing, please concentrate here. Revenue deficit. With respect to revenue deficit, it's a very simple one. Revenue expenditure minus revenue receipts. The excess of government revenues expenditure over revenue receipts constitute revenue deficit. So now very, very important, you have to think the concept. See here, budget deficit means expenditure minus receipts, right? You are spending and also receipts. Sorry. So budget deficit minus borrowing. उधार ले रहे हो. उधार. What is it known as? You can abbreviate also. Very good. Pragati madam's answer is half right. Deficit is correct. See, all are like, if one started giving wrong answer, all give the wrong answer. So very important. देखो ऐसा कीजिए, borrowing लिखिए, वो fiscal deficit है. ये simple है, not only for you, even me and all confused. So you have to have mnemonics. So simple, in a very simple way I am explaining. Budget deficit is equal to expenditure minus receipts. So here borrowing क्या रहता है उसको निकाल दीजिए, then what you will get is fiscal deficit. Is the point clear? So very important, fiscal deficit का क्या मायना है? Fiscal deficit shows how much you are borrowing. Right? Fiscal deficit is equal to expenditure minus receipts minus borrowing. Please note down this one. Fiscal deficit is equal to expenditure minus, inside the bracket, receipts minus borrowing. So fiscal deficit indicate the borrowing, how much the government is borrowing. Then fiscal deficit in that interest payments. See, connect the things. Budget deficit, fiscal deficit, then interest payments. So what is it known as? Yes, primary deficit. Right? So please let me know if you have not understood these things, because these are the things which often ask. So primary interest payment, just keep like that. And borrowing, fiscal deficit. Right? Okay. Right? Okay, let me explain the things in a detailed way. The difference between the total expenditure of the government on one hand, as given in the budget document, the difference between the total expenditure of the government on one hand and the revenue receipts of the government and the capital receipts, which are not in the nature of borrowing on the other, constitute fiscal deficit. So this is the definition given, no need to bother, just write in your own words what you have already written. So primary deficit is equal to fiscal deficit minus interest payment. So here, like one of the big mistake which all students do is they literally take the things. They don't have a mental picture of what is a fiscal deficit, what is a primary deficit, why they have used, why they have classified. So you should have a mental picture of these things. Primary deficit is the fiscal deficit reduced by interest payments. Okay, these are the things. So all the things which are there in the budget, the terminology, these are the things which are there in the budget document. The key to the budget. So I have completed everything in the key to the budget. There is no need for you to read anything in that. In that, you have to add only one thing, that is the funds, consolidated fund, contingency fund, and public accounts. That's it. Those things I have not covered intentionally because already you have read those things. Right? So, okay. So these are the things for today. If you have got any doubt, please let me know. Because the time is very, very important, so I thought I shouldn't be stretching the things. Okay. Okay, if you don't have any doubt, please revise the things. I expect one question from the things what I have covered here today. Having said that, let me conclude the session. Have a great day. Enjoy your preparation. Thank you for attending the class. Thank you.